Okay, I've had some requests for mica painting videos, so I'm gonna show you how I do this little guy. He's still wet. I just did this one a little bit ago, but it's just my little Christmas mouse. He's got a cute little ladybug on him and a little gold bell, lots of cute detail. So I will show you how I did him. I use soapbox micas. They're from Terry Cover. I'm going to start with the red for this one. And I have here Dusty Mauve. This is my very favorite Christmas red. And I have 90% rubbing alcohol that I use just to moisten the mica, kind of make it paint consistency. And it really varies as to how thick I need it depending on what I'm painting. For the brick, you want it a little bit on the thinner side. So you'll see I have it just mixed with some alcohol. The alcohol kind of dissipates too as you're painting, so you have to re-wet it occasionally. I forgot the ladybug last time, so I'm going to do the ladybug first. I sprayed some dry mica on it, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. I accidentally got some going in the air. So for the little ladybug, I have these little tiny brushes that I got from Mica, or from Michael's. Getting tired, so I'm probably going to say silly stuff. And that's that on the ladybug. And then I'll come back and do the black dots. And I start with the brick because I can hold his little head and really turn it around. There's a lot of brick here, so I want to have a good grip on the soap and be able to move it around. So that's why I chose to start with the brick. It really is going to vary. You just have to kind of think about what you're going to need to hold on to be able to turn your soap and kind of save that area for last. I had issues pouring this. It's a difficult little mold to pour. It's only 2 ounces. And when I received the mold, it had been cut almost in half, so it was cut a little bit too far. When I cut my own molds, I will pour the soap in the mold, and then I will only cut it as much as I have to cut it to get the soap out. So this had a pretty big cut, and I was putting it back together with rubber bands, and I guess I was putting it together too tight, so I wasn't getting the soap poured the whole way down into the little pom-pom. So I found that I needed to just put one rubber band on the top of the mold instead of that second rubber band on the bottom. And that way I can get more down into the tiny little cavities like this, the pom-pom down there. It was hard to get the soap into that. Now you'll see I went ahead and I did the lines in the brick, and now I'm turning my brush sideways and just kind of rolling the mica on there. I'm not really painting this part per se. I'm just kind of sideways rolling it. And there's lots of little details, so it takes a while to do this one. It's not a quick paint job. I thought this would just give everybody an idea of how I do the painting. Out of everything I do with soap, I have to say the painting is my favorite. I really enjoy it a lot. Tried to do this video once before and it cut off with my other mouse, so I don't know if it cuts off. Just know that it was my phone. I'm a little bit challenged with all this, so hopefully the videos will get better as I go. And there's the first side done. I'm going to just turn it on to the next. Next one's a little bit easier because there's not so much detailed paint around, so it goes a little quicker. And just paint your lines first because I want the lines a little darker, so that's why I'm painting the lines first. I have a lot of orders for him. I had to cut him off because I've only got one mold and it's very time consuming, so I wanted to only do a limited number of these. And he's small, like I mentioned, he's only 2 ounces, so I'm charging $5 for him, which, you know, it's not a lot when you've spent so much time doing it. But he's cute and I enjoy doing him, so I'll do as many as I can. I'm going to cut off, I'm going to try to have all my Christmas stuff done like early December so that I'm not rushing soaps at the very last minute. Did some Christmas shows last year, but I didn't really enjoy that. It was just too much, so I'm not going to do that this year. Here's side 2. It looks good. It just kind of almost want the bricks to look a little whitewashed. And if the mica starts thickening up too much, then I'll add some more alcohol. You don't want your mica painting to be extremely thick, or when you wrap it, it's all going to wash off. I let my soaps dry at least 24 hours, and I have a dehumidifier that runs in my soap studio constantly, so they don't sweat when they're unwrapped. If you don't have a dehumidifier and your area is humid, then you might not be able to do that. But for me, I can leave them sit. It dries up my mica really nicely, and then I can wrap them with no problem. I've heard people say to hairspray them, so I did try it this summer. I hairsprayed some soaps and I shipped them to my family. And when they got them and took the wrappers off, all the mica pulled off with the wrapper. So, you know, because the hairspray is sticky, and it just stuck to all the mica coloring and pulled it all off. So I won't do that anymore. Kind of bothered me anyhow to spray them, because you're not listing those ingredients, and somebody might be sensitive to those ingredients. So I didn't think it was a good idea, but I did think I would give it a try. Here's side 3. And this one's got a bunch more details, so it's going to take just a little bit longer. Out of everything I do with the soaps, this is the most relaxing thing. I love to sit here and paint soaps. So tonight I have 2 mice and 4 Christmas trees and 2 owls that I need to paint. I'm going to try to get those done before I go to bed. So I work the next couple days and I won't have time to do them. I do 12-hour shifts, and don't get much of anything else done when you have those long days. So I want to get these all painted tonight, and then when I come home I can just wrap them up real quick. I'm trying to get all the orders done now. Took a break for a couple of weeks. I had a 3-day show just before Halloween, and it went real well, so I didn't have a lot of stuff left. I had just a few things, and I had not started on Christmas, so I gave myself a little break, and now I've started all the Christmas. And there you go, there's side 4. And then I'm going to move on to the gold. Like I mentioned, I love Terry Cover's Soapbox Micas. They're my very favorite. And Goldfinger is one of my most favorite micas ever. I love, it's just so much glisten and shine, and I love how it looks on my soaps. So, I'll show you here. This is all Goldfinger, and you can just see it's very, very shimmery, really pretty gold. And for the textured parts on the hat, you're gonna need to be careful about where you start. I'm gonna do the little bell first. But when you have a lot of texture, the mica can kind of take off and follow the texture in the mold, and you might not have as good of control over it. So with these textured areas on this hat, I'm going to kind of start in the middle and then just pull it off to the sides. So my brush will be a little bit drier, and I won't have as much mica to spread onto the mouse, because I don't want the gold coloring into the mouse hair. And often I'll just kind of hit my brush to the side of my dish so that I don't have an overload of mica. I guess this is still recording. I tried to do this earlier and I don't know why it had cut off. Maybe it was too long. I don't know if there's a time limit. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of learning this as I go. But my daughter thought it would be a good idea if I did some YouTube videos, so I'm attempting to do that for you guys. It's just a really cute little guy. I've been doing soaps. I'm going into my 5th year doing them. And when I started them, I didn't even have access to, I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't have access to any kind of videos because we didn't have internet that would allow me to watch YouTube. So it was very difficult for me to learn, and I just looked at a lot of pictures and I wasted a lot of materials and kind of figured it out. Tried some soap bases that did not work for me, and then I ordered from Brambleberry SFIC bases, and they really changed what I was able to do with my soap because they will stay fluid for you at lower temperatures. If you have a base that's getting solid at high temperatures, it really limits you what you can do. So the SFIC bases really helped a lot. And then once I started using the micas from Terry, then that was a real game changer, because the micas, the colorants are just so beautiful and really changes the whole appearance of your soaps when you have a good quality color. And for people that do shows, when you put those beautiful colors out on your table, it attracts people to the table to come over and look and see what you've got. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Sometimes after I do them and let them sit for a while, I'll go back and look at them and think something needs to be touched up. So you can always do that if you need to. I like to get them as perfect as possible. They're not going to be perfect because they're handmade, but as close as you can. I have a whole room designated to my soaps. I'm very fortunate. I know not everyone can have that. When I started, I had the kitchen, and I took over the kitchen, and it was a big mess. I could never have food in the kitchen because I was always doing soap. So my husband, we were remodeling this house anyhow. My husband turned this nice big room on the sunny side of the house into a soap studio for me. I just love it. I spend so much time in here, and it's a happy place for me. Great stress reliever. Okay, so there, we've got that. Now I'm going to move on to, I think I'll do the black on him. The black is very tricky. The little eyes are tricky. You have to be very careful that you don't get the black too wet, or it's going to end up running into the hairs, because the mouse is textured and it looks like little hairs on the mouse, and that black will run into that, and then you have to clean it up, and it just takes time, so I try not to do that. Load my brush, and then I can hit it like on the side of the cup. You just want a tiny little bit. I'm going to try to do the mouth first. It doesn't have to be much in the mouth. You're just giving the line of the mouth a little definition. Oh, I forgot to do his nose. I'll come back with the red and do the nose. Mouth is really difficult. Alright. And then whenever I do any of these animal eyes, I look up Google images and will actually look at the real animal and try to make the eye look as lifelike as possible, because that's what gives your little animal's personality. And they're not going to look exactly real, but you just want to get them as close as possible. And Alex is here. I don't know if you can see him, but he's making faces. And he's going to go get us pizza from Pizza Al here in Saberton, Morgantown, West Virginia. Best pizza in the world. Little old Italian guy that has the big ball of dough on the counter. And now he actually has 3 of them now, doesn't he? What, Alex? I think he has three pizza places now. But so good. Okay, so there he is. And I've got to do the snow. Oh, I have to go back and do his nose so I don't forget it. Let me see. I don't remember which brush I was using. Red with. I have a variety of these little brushes. I can't remember if I told you, but I just picked these up at Michael's. You can get them any kind of craft store. You just want a nice shaped brush. You don't want one that has bristles sticking out all over the place. So get a nice shaped brush. And it seemed to be down a brush for some reason. I don't know where it went. But and get a little fine tip. It'll work best for you. And this little nose is right next to those lines that give him that hair texture. So you got to be really careful not to have it too wet or it's going to spread into the soap. I think I just spread it. If I did, I'll clean it up a little, but it might not be too bad. So there's a little nose. I think I'm going to have to rinse a brush. Oh, I found the missing brush. So I need to put black on the ladybug. I'm forgetting stuff. You'll see when I spray that alcohol, it's teeny tiny drops. I don't put much at all. And then for the little black dots, they don't have to be perfect. Just touch the dot with the brush. And it's just enough to give it the definition of the dot. Sometimes I think I'm creating my own dots. I'm not sure that I even see the line. And then his little head is black too. All these little details are what people love and what makes them so cute. And then my new favorite color this year. Let me see, what did I do with it? Oh, so my new favorite color is Innocence by Soapbox Micas. I don't know if you can see that. And it is so shimmery. I've used it like on everything that I want to look like snow. I've put this Innocence mica on it. It's just gorgeous. And it gives it a lot of really pretty shimmer and shine. It takes a little bit more alcohol than most of the stuff does. And I see here that I've got some red on this tail. I do not want red on the tail, so I just have these little nail sticks that I use to clean things up, and I'm going to take that red off that tail because I do not like that. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to paint my snow on every place where I think there should be like some snow caps. I'm going to go ahead and just paint this Innocence, and it gives it that little snowy look. It's really pretty. It's kind of like, it's a very glittery mica. It's a little coarser. That's the word I was looking for. So I think it might be called a glitter replacement. I'm not sure. Terry has real good sales. She helped me so much in the beginning when I was learning how to make soaps. She had all kinds of contests on her page. She still does some contests here and once in a while, and I always challenge myself to try to do these contests, and so it just had me thinking outside the regular box and made me a little more creative, I think, when I was doing that kind of stuff. This is so pretty, this Innocence. I don't know if you guys can really see all the shimmer and shine on it or not. Now the one thing, you know, if I go to wrap this and it's got too much mica, can't remember what I've told you because this is the second time I've done this video, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But if you find that you have too much and it's smudging off on your wrap, take your wrap off. Just gently touch it with a paper towel to get some of the excess off, and then when you rewrap it, you should have no trouble. Just make sure you let it dry at least 24 hours if you can. That's going to give you the best results. And then for the little, I think the only thing I've got left is just to put a little shimmer on that eye. So I do that with gold usually. So I'll just get a loaded brush here with the gold, and I'm just going to touch the eye just to give it a little white. And that's that. I think I've done everything. Don't think I missed anything. So that's my little Christmas mouse. Hope that was helpful. You guys will have to let me know what else you need to see or what you would enjoy seeing, and I'll be happy to try to do it for you. Okay. Have a good night. Love you, Maddie, Gabby, Abigail, Rebecca. Grandma loves you. Good night.